The silver research vessel drifted silently through space as Lily adjusted her observation screens. Her antenna twitched with excitement as she prepared for her first solo mission as a junior xenobiologist. The ship's soft blue lights reflected off her pale, shimming skin as she double-checked her equipment one last time. Earth hung before her like a marble of blue and white, beautiful but dangerous in her people's eyes. The Starweavers had watched this world from afar for centuries, fascinated but too cautious to make contact. Humans were labeled as fierce predators in their database, and most of her kind preferred to study safer species. Lily wasn't like most of her kind. While they saw teeth and claws in human smiles, she saw something else in their broadcasts and signals, something that didn't match their violent reputation. That's why she had fought so hard for this assignment, even though her teachers thought she was making a mistake. "Display historical records," she commanded, and her screens filled with human history. Wars, yes, so many wars. But also art, music, and acts of kindness that made no sense to her logical people. She watched recordings of humans rushing into burning buildings to save strangers, diving into rough waters to rescue animals, and sharing food with enemies. Her fingers danced across the control panel as she took notes. Subject species shows contradictory behavior patterns, she mumbled as she worked. High aggression indices paired with extreme altruism. Requires further study. The ship's AI chimed in with its daily warning. Reminder: maintain safe observation distance, as per Protocol 7B. Humans are classified as unpredictable and dangerous. Lily sighed. She'd heard this warning 100 times during her training. She focused her sensors on a small town near a forest. Her screen showed humans going about their daily lives. Working, playing, living. They looked so normal, not like the monsters her species feared. She zoomed in on a group of children sharing their lunch with a stray dog. "Note for research log," she said, her voice soft with wonder. Humans continue to display nurturing behavior even towards non-related species. This contradicts our current classification of them as purely predatory beings. Her antenna perked up as she detected unusual readings from a nearby human gathering. It was some kind of celebration. A birthday party, according to her cultural database. She watched as humans gathered around a small one of their species, singing and sharing food. The small human's face lit up with joy as others presented it with wrapped objects, gifts her database supplied. "Fascinating," she whispered. They put significant effort into marking the passage of time for each individual. This was so different from her own people, who saw such celebrations as illogical. The more she watched, the more questions she had. A warning light flashed on her console. She drifted closer to Earth than regulations allowed. Lily quickly adjusted her position, but couldn't help feeling frustrated by the distance. How was she supposed to really understand humans from so far away? She spent the rest of her shift recording observations about human social structures, their strange habit of keeping animals as pets, and their constant creation of art and music. None of it fit neatly into her people's categories. As her first day of observation ended, Lily made her final log entry. The humans remain a puzzle. Our data calls them fierce predators, yet they spend most of their time caring for each other. They have wars, yes, but also hospitals. They build weapons, but also gardens. Perhaps, she paused, choosing her words carefully. Perhaps we have been too quick to judge them based on their capacity for violence, while ignoring their capacity for love. She looked at Earth one last time before ending her shift. Tomorrow she would observe another region, gather more data, and try to understand these contradictory creatures. What she didn't know was that very soon, she would experience human nature firsthand, in ways that would change both her and her people's understanding forever. The ship's lights dimmed as she prepared for rest cycle, but her mind was still full of questions about the strange species below. In her dreams that night, she walked among humans, no longer watching from afar, though she never imagined how soon that dream would become reality. The first sign of trouble was a small flicker in the ship's lights. Lily looked up from her observation screens, her antenna twitching nervously. something wasn't right. The quiet hum of the engines changed pitch, becoming higher and more urgent. "Warning," the ship's AI announced. "Primary power core showing signs of instability." Red warning lights started flashing across her control panel. Lily's fingers flew over the controls as she tried to stabilize the failing systems. "Run diagnostic," she ordered, trying to keep her voice steady. The results made her heart sink. The power core was going into a cascade failure. She had minutes, maybe less, before complete system failure. Earth's gravity was already pulling at her ship. Lily sent out a distress signal to the nearest Starweaver vessel, but new help was too far away. She had to make a choice: try to maintain orbit with failing engines, or attempt a controlled crash landing. The ship shuddered violently, making the decision for her. "Emergency landing protocols engage," she announced to the ship's computer, her training taking over despite her fear. The vessel plunged into Earth's atmosphere, its hull glowing red-hot. Through the viewport, she saw a vast green forest spreading out below her. The ship's remaining systems helped her aim for a clearing, but the landing was going to be rough. Lily braced herself as the ground rushed up to meet her. The impact threw her against her safety restraints. Metal screamed as the ship plowed through trees, finally coming to rest in a small valley. Silence fell, broken only by the occasional pop of cooling metal and the strange sounds of Earth's forest. Lily checked herself for injuries, just bruises, thankfully. Her ship was another matter. The power core was dead, communications were offline, and the hull had several breaches. She was stranded on the very planet she'd been studying from afar. The reality of her situation hit her. She was alone on a world full of fierce predators, with no way to call for help. Her people wouldn't even know where to look for her for several days, when she missed her scheduled check-in. Strange sounds from the forest made her antenna stand straight up in alarm. Her sensors picked up movement. Something big was coming toward the crash site. Lily's heart beat faster as she pulled up her emergency protocols on a backup screen. Should she hide? Try to run? Her legs felt frozen as she watched the motion sensors display. A figure emerged from the trees. A human. Lily's breath caught in her throat. It was tall, wearing some kind of green uniform, and moving carefully toward her ship. Everything she'd learned about humans raced through her mind. Would it attack her? Try to capture her? Dissect her? The human stopped at the edge of the crash site, looking at her ship with obvious concern. It was carrying some kind of bag, and what her database identified as a flashlight, though no weapon that she could see. Still, her people's warnings rang in her ears. Humans were dangerous, unpredictable. "Hello," the human called out. "Anyone in there? Are you hurt?" The voice was deep but gentle. Male, according to her research. "I'm here to help. I'm a ranger, and I used to be a medic." Lily didn't move. Her translator was working, but she couldn't make herself respond. The human took another step forward, moving slowly, hands raised to show they were empty. "My name's Jack," he said. "I saw your ship come down. If you're hurt, I can help. I won't harm you." Something in his voice made Lily pause. It was the same tone she'd heard humans use with injured animals in her observations. Calm, soothing. Not at all what she expected from a fierce predator. A spark from her damaged console made her jump, letting out a small yelp. The sound was enough to tell Jack exactly where she was. He moved closer to her viewport, and for the first time, Lily found herself face to face with a human. Their eyes met. In that moment, all her years of training and her people's warnings fought against what she saw in those eyes. Concern, kindness, and not a trace of the ferocity she'd been taught to fear. Lily's hearts were beating so fast she could barely think. The human, Jack, was right outside her damaged ship, and she had to make a choice. Her screens showed the ship's power levels dropping further. Soon she wouldn't even have life support. The forest air was breathable according to her sensors, but stepping outside meant putting herself at the human's mercy. Another spark from the console made her decision easier. Lily pressed the emergency release, and the ship's hatch opened with a soft hiss. Cool Earth air rushed in, carrying strange forest smells she'd only studied in data files. Jack took a step back, giving her space. His eyes widened at the sight of her shimmering skin and antenna, but he didn't look frightened, just surprised. "You're hurt," he said softly, pointing to a cut on her arm she hadn't noticed. Lily looked down. Blue blood was seeping from a small wound. She must have gotten it during the crash. She started, her translator working to convert her words to English. "I am not seriously damaged." A smile crossed Jack's face at her formal words. "That's good to hear. But we should still clean that cut. May I?" He held up his bag, moving slowly to show her what he was doing. "I have medical supplies." Everything in her training screamed that this was dangerous, but Lily found herself nodding. She watched carefully as Jack opened his bag, taking out items her database identified as bandages and antiseptic. "This might sting a little," he warned, holding up the antiseptic. Lily flinched when he applied it, more from surprise than pain. His hands were gentle but sure, cleaning the cut with practiced ease. "You are not afraid," she said, watching his face as he worked. "Most humans would be afraid of an alien." Jack chuckled, wrapping a bandage around her arm. "Oh, I'm plenty surprised, but you seem more scared than I am, and I figure one of us should stay calm. Besides, I've seen enough sci-fi movies to know not all aliens are bad." Lily's antenna twitched in confusion. "Movies? Ah, your entertainment files. You learn about aliens from entertainment. Well, it's not like we have real aliens to learn from. Until now." He finished with the bandage and stepped back. "There. How's that feel?" She moved her arm, testing it. "The treatment is adequate. Thank you." She paused, then added, "My people think humans are dangerous predators. They say we should stay away." Jack raised an eyebrow. "And what do you think?" "I think." Lily looked at her bandaged arm, then at Jack's kind face. "I think perhaps we were wrong, or not entirely right." A distant rumble of thunder made them both look up. Dark clouds were gathering overhead. "We should get you somewhere dry," Jack said. "My cabin's not far. You'll be safer there than in your damaged ship, and we can figure out what to do next." Lily hesitated. Going to a human dwelling wasn't in any of her protocols. But neither was crash landing on Earth. She looked back at her ship. It was clearly not going anywhere soon. "I need to get some things first," she said, ducking back into the ship. She grabbed her personal data pad, some emergency supplies, and her research notes. When she emerged, the first drops of rain were starting to fall. "Ready?" Jack asked, offering his hand to help her over some broken branches. Lily stared at the offered hand for a moment, then carefully took it. His skin was warmer than hers and rougher, but his grip was steady and reassuring. As they walked through the forest, Lily found herself making mental notes out of habit. "Subject shows unexpected gentleness," she thought. "Displays protective behavior toward unknown species. Challenges previous assumptions about human aggression levels." Jack was pointing out things as they walked, warning her about poison ivy, showing her which path was safest, naming local plants and animals. His voice was calm and friendly, like he helped stranded aliens every day. The rain was falling harder now, and Lily saw lights ahead through the trees. "Home sweet home," Jack said. "It's not much, but it's dry and safe. And I make a pretty good cup of coffee if you're interested in trying some Earth cuisine." Looking at the warm lights ahead, Lily realized she wasn't afraid anymore. Her antenna relaxed, picking up no signs of danger from her strange new protector. Instead, she felt something unexpected, curiosity, and maybe even a little excitement about what she might learn from this fierce predator, who was nothing like what she'd expected. The warm glow of Jack's cabin felt safe, but that feeling didn't last long. Lily's antenna suddenly stood straight up, detecting something her human companion couldn't sense. She rushed to the window, her shimmering skin paling slightly. "What's wrong?" Jack asked, setting down the cup of coffee he'd been showing her how to drink. "Ships," she whispered. "3 of them, entering Earth's atmosphere." Her fingers moved quickly over her datapad, which she'd managed to save from the crash. "They're not my people. The energy signatures are all wrong." Jack joined her at the window, though he couldn't see anything through the rain and darkness. "Who are they?" "Pirates," Lily said, her voice shaking slightly. "They must have picked up my distress signal. They hunt for crashed ships, stealing technology, and—" She paused, "sometimes taking survivors to sell in the outer systems." Jack's face hardened, but his voice stayed calm. "They're not taking you anywhere." He moved quickly around the cabin, gathering supplies into a backpack. "We need to move. They'll check your crash site first, but they'll scan the area too." Lily watched him with growing amazement. Instead of panicking, he was acting with quick, quiet efficiency. "You're not scared?" "Oh, I'm plenty scared," Jack said, checking what looked like a map on his phone. "But being scared doesn't mean you can't act. Fear keeps you sharp if you don't let it control you." He handed her a warm jacket. "Put this on. It'll help hide your heat signature." A distant humming sound made them both freeze. Through the window, they saw lights moving over the forest where Lily's ship had crashed. Jack turned off all the lights in the cabin. "There's an old mining cave system about 2 miles from here," he whispered. "Complex enough to hide in. And the mineral deposits might help scramble their scanners. Can you walk that far?" Lily nodded, clutching her datapad. "Yes. But won't they track us?" "Not if we're smart about it." Jack filled a water bottle and grabbed some food. "We'll use the stream for part of the way. Water masks tracks and thermal signatures. I learned that in the military." They slipped out the back door of the cabin into the rain. Jack led them through the dark forest with surprising skill, using the rain and terrain to their advantage. Lily's heart raced every time she heard the pirates' ships overhead. But Jack's calm presence helped her stay focused. "Your military training," she whispered as they waded through a cold stream. "It was for fighting." "For protecting," Jack corrected her. "Fighting's just one part of it. Mostly it was about keeping people safe, helping them survive." He helped her over a slippery rock. "Like now." A bright light suddenly swept over the forest behind them. Jack pulled Lily under an overhanging bank, his body shielding her from view. They held perfectly still as the light passed by. "They're getting closer," Lily whispered, her antenna picking up the pirates' energy readings. "My people were wrong about humans being predators, but these pirates, they're the real predators." Jack checked his map again in the dim light of Lily's datapad. "Sometimes you need a predator on your side." He gave her a reassuring smile. "Being able to fight doesn't make you bad. It's what you fight for that matters." They moved on through the darkness, Jack choosing their path carefully. Lily found herself studying him with new understanding. Here was the fierceness her people feared, but it wasn't mindless or cruel. It was protective, calculated, used to defend rather than attack. The cave entrance was hidden behind thick bushes. Jack checked it carefully before leading them inside. "We'll be safer here," he whispered. "The rocks should help hide us from their scans." As they moved deeper into the cave system, Lily realized something had changed. She wasn't just following Jack because she needed help. She trusted him. This human who her people thought was a dangerous predator had become her protector, using those same dangerous skills to keep her safe. A crash echoed from outside the cave. The pirates were getting closer, but now Lily felt more curious than afraid. She was about to see another side of her human protector, and something told her she would learn even more about what really made humans fierce. Deep in the cave, Jack created a small hidden camp in a side tunnel. He pulled out a small light that gave off just enough glow to see by, careful to keep it shielded from the main tunnel. Lily sat close by, her antenna occasionally twitching at distant sounds of the pirates searching outside. "Why are you helping me?" she asked quietly. "Your people don't even know mine exist. You could have just walked away." Jack was checking his supplies, but he paused to look at her. Would your people have helped a crashed human ship? No, Lily admitted. They would have observed from a safe distance and documented what happened. She looked down at her hands. We're taught that involvement is dangerous and illogical. And what do you think about that now? Lily was quiet for a moment. I think sometimes the logical choice isn't the right choice. She looked at the bandage still on her arm. If you had been logical and safe, I would still be in my crashed ship. Or worse, captured by the pirates. A rumbling sound came from above, making bits of dust fall from the cave ceiling. The pirates were using scanning equipment, trying to find them. Jack moved closer to Lily, ready to move if they needed to. Tell me about your people, he whispered. Why are they so afraid of humans? They see your history of wars, your ability to survive in harsh conditions, your predator teeth. Lily gestured to her own flat teeth. They think you're too dangerous, too unpredictable. But they don't see everything. They don't see. She waved her hand, struggling to find the words. Our capacity for kindness, Jack suggested. Yes, but more than that. They don't see how your fierceness and your kindness are connected. How you use your strength to protect, not just to fight. She pointed to her datapad. My research was supposed to be about human aggression patterns. Instead, I'm learning about human protection patterns. Jack smiled. We can be pretty protective. Sometimes too much, maybe. But better that than not enough. Especially right now. The sound of voices echoed from the main tunnel. Rough, angry voices speaking a language Jack didn't understand. Lily's translator picked it up, though, and she paled slightly. They're getting closer, she whispered. They're saying they detected energy readings in this area. Energy readings? Jack looked thoughtful. From your data pad, maybe. Lily nodded. It's the only working piece of my technology. But I need it. It has my research, my emergency protocols, everything. Sometimes, Jack said softly, the logical choice really isn't the right one. Your research or your safety, which matters more. Lily looked at her data pad, then at Jack. She thought about everything she'd learned about humans. Not from her research, but from actually knowing one. With sudden decision, she turned off the data pad completely. My people can get new data, she whispered. But I don't think I could find another human quite like you. Jack's smile was warm and proud. The voices in the tunnel grew fainter. The pirates were moving away, following the now vanished energy signal. You know, Lily said after a while, I'm supposed to be the advanced species here. My people have technology your world won't develop for centuries. But there are things you humans understand that my people haven't learned. Like sometimes being brave means being scared, but helping anyway. Or how strength isn't just for fighting. Every species has something to teach the others, Jack said. Maybe that's why the universe is so big, lots of room for everyone to learn. Lily's antenna moved in what Jack had learned was her version of a smile. When I first crashed, I thought being stranded with a human was the worst thing that could happen. Now I think maybe it was the best accident of my life. A loud crash from outside made them both tense up. The pirates weren't done searching yet, but as Jack moved to check their hiding spot, Lily wasn't afraid anymore. She was with the fiercest protector she could imagine. A human who had chosen to help her simply because she needed help. The pirates found them just before dawn. A stray piece of rock had shifted under Lily's foot, sending echoes through the cave system. Within minutes, harsh lights flooded their hiding spot as three armed figures appeared in the tunnel. Well, well, the lead pirate said in a language Lily's translator converted to English, a star weaver and a human. He laughed roughly. 2 prizes instead of 1. Jack stepped in front of Lily, his body language changing in a way she'd never seen before. Gone was the gentle forest ranger. In his place stood a warrior, ready to protect. But he kept his voice calm, almost casual. You really don't want to do this, Jack said. Lily's translator conveyed his words to the pirates. "This is my planet. These are my woods. Leave now, and we can all walk away." The pirates laughed. Their leader pointed a weapon at Jack. "Brave words from a primitive species. Your planet doesn't even have space travel yet. What can one human do against our technology?" Jack's smile was different now. Not warm like before, but sharp. "You'd be surprised what humans can do when we need to protect something." His eyes flicked to the cave ceiling, then back. "Especially in our own territory." Lily noticed how he'd been slowly shifting his weight, moving into a specific position. Her antenna picked up subtle changes in the air, pressure differences, tiny vibrations. Suddenly, she understood what he was planning. "Last chance," Jack said. "Leave." The leader fired his weapon. But Jack was already moving, pushing Lily behind a rock formation as he threw something at the cave ceiling. The pirate's energy blast hit empty air as a small explosion shook the tunnel. Rocks crashed down between them and the pirates. Through the dust and confusion, Jack grabbed Lily's hand. "Run. I know another way out." They raced through the tunnel system, Jack leading them through turns Lily hadn't even noticed before. Behind them, she could hear the pirates shouting and shooting, but the falling rocks had slowed them down. "How did you know?" she gasped as they ran. "About the cave structure. Former military, remember? I studied these caves when I became a ranger. Old mining explosives still hidden in some spots. Just had to wait for the right moment." They emerged from a different cave entrance into the gray light of dawn, but two of the pirates had circled around, cutting off their escape. Jack pushed Lily behind him again as the pirates raised their weapons. "Primitive or not," one pirate snarled, "you've caused enough trouble." What happened next amazed Lily. Jack moved faster than she thought possible, using the uneven ground and trees to his advantage. He rolled under the first shot, came up with a heavy branch, and struck the nearest pirate's weapon away. The second pirate tried to aim, but Jack was too close, too fast. Lily didn't stand idle. She might not be a warrior, but she was still a scientist. She used her knowledge of xenobiology, calling out the pirates' physical weaknesses for Jack to target. Together, they worked as a team, human strength and alien knowledge combined. The lead pirate burst out of the cave, firing wildly. Jack grabbed a fallen pirate's weapon, understanding its use instantly. He fired once, precisely, hitting the cave above the leader. More rocks fell, trapping the pirate beneath them. In minutes, it was over. The pirates were defeated, not by advanced technology, but by human resourcefulness and determination. Jack quickly gathered the pirates' weapons, making sure they couldn't be used again. Lily stared at him in amazement. "I've never seen anything like that. You were so fierce, but still so controlled." Jack checked her for injuries, his gentle nature returning now that the danger was past. Being fierce doesn't mean losing control. It means using everything you have to protect what matters. What matters? Lily's antenna twitched with curiosity. Jack looked at her with those kind eyes that had first made her trust him. "You matter. You needed help, so I helped. That's what humans do, or try to do, anyway." The sun rose over the forest, lighting up the scene of their victory. Lily looked at the defeated pirates, then at her human protector. She finally understood what her people had missed in all their observations. Humans weren't fierce despite their kindness, or kind despite their fierceness. Their strength and their compassion were two parts of the same whole, and that made them more amazing than her people had ever imagined. The Starweaver rescue ship descended from the clouds 3 days after the battle with the pirates. It landed in the same clearing where Lily had crashed, its silver hull gleaming in the morning sun. Jack stood beside Lily as 3 of her people emerged, their antenna twitching with obvious concern. "Are you damaged? Were you harmed by the humans?" the lead rescuer asked in their language, eyeing Jack with obvious suspicion. Lily straightened up, her shimmering skin bright with confidence. "No," she replied in English, letting her translator convey her words to both sides. I wasn't harmed by humans. I was saved by one. She told them everything. The crash, Jack's help, the pirates, and their escape. With each word, the rescue team's antenna twitched more rapidly, their previously held beliefs clearly shaken. But our data suggests humans are dangerous predators, one rescuer argued. Their history shows exactly what they are. Lily interrupted. Fierce when they need to be, gentle when they can be, and loyal always. She looked at Jack with warm appreciation. They're not simple predators. They're protectors. The lead rescuer studied Jack more carefully now. You helped her without knowing anything about her people, without any benefit to yourself. Jack shrugged. She needed help. Sometimes it's that simple. Simple? The rescuer's antenna curled in confusion. Our studies of human behavior indicate your species always acts from complex motivations. Status, resources, power. Maybe you're studying the wrong things, Lily said. She pulled out her partially damaged data pad, calling up her new research notes. You've been watching humans from so far away. You've missed what makes them truly special. Their fierceness comes from love, not hate. Their strength serves their kindness. The rescue team huddled together, discussing quietly. Jack leaned closer to Lily. You know, he whispered, you could stay. Learn more about humans up close. My cabin has plenty of room. Lily's antenna moved in her version of a smile. Actually, I have a different idea. She walked over to the rescue team, her voice firm. I want to propose a change in our research protocols. No more distant observation. I want to establish a proper cultural exchange program, and I want to be the first ambassador. The rescuers looked shocked. Direct contact. That's against all our protocols. Our protocols are based on incomplete data, Lily argued. We thought we understood humans, but we were wrong. How can we claim to be a species dedicated to knowledge when we let fear keep us from learning? She gestured to Jack. This human risked his life to protect someone he'd never met, from a species he didn't know existed. Imagine what our peoples could learn from each other if we stopped hiding and started talking. The rescue team's antenna moved in complex patterns as they considered her words. Finally, the leader spoke. Your experience challenges our assumptions. Perhaps it is time for new protocols. Lily's heart leaped with joy. She turned to Jack, who had been watching quietly. Would you help me? Be part of the exchange program. Show more of my people what humans are really like. Jack's warm smile was all the answer she needed. I'd be honored, though you might want to start with something simpler than fighting pirates. Like coffee. Lily's antenna twitched with amusement, remembering her first taste of the earth drink. The rescue team looked bewildered as Jack and Lily laughed together. But Lily could see curiosity replacing fear in their expressions. Her accident had done what years of distant research couldn't. Shown her people the true nature of humans. As arrangements were made for the new exchange program, Lily looked at her original research notes about fierce predator humans. She would keep them, she decided, as a reminder of how wrong first impressions could be. Her crash landing hadn't just taught her about humans, it had taught her to question everything she thought she knew. Jack caught her eye and smiled that warm, protective smile that had first made her trust him. Lily knew her life would never be the same after meeting this human. Her people had been right about one thing. Humans were fierce. But that fierceness, she now knew, was the most beautiful thing about them. Sometimes, she thought, you had to crash land on the wrong planet to end up exactly where you needed to be.